You know, I always felt that I was doing something that was for the future, for it to be understood in the future. And it was like being like a scientist, you know, who's really doing something, and the whole world would not know what you're doing because, you know, scientific discovery, unless you just have a big title saying, you know, we found the cure for cancer or something like that. So anything that they're doing, we don't really know, but only the scientists will understand the other scientists or something. And I thought that I was making music on that level. And so when John and I did this YOKO ONO Plastic Ono band, and that was just sort of, you know, okay, let's do one with Yoko or something, and we just did it. And it was amazing because right after it, he said, were you getting that? to the engineers, because the engineers were totally not very happy with me. And they felt that I should not be with John. John should not be with me. In other words, he was such an incredible icon for them, and they wanted to sort of own John themselves, not some invasion like you know, a Japanese woman or something. So I think it was very hard for them to realize that I was there. But on top of it, you know, she's screaming or something. So, you know, they didn't like any of that, I don't think. I was a very isolated figure, and there was a certain aloneness in my life as a child, I suppose. But also, there was an incredible feeling of wanting to reach, wanting to share, wanting to communicate. I was just more concerned with what the inspiration I was getting. And when inspiration comes into me, and there's so many coming in, it's almost like every day something is coming. So if I kept it in my head, then it would sort of be bad for my health or something. You know, it's just stuck there. So I have to dish it out. And I didn't have the means to do it because, well, I'm not an engineer or contractor or whatever, you know, doing those little things myself. So all I had to do was to write it down, and those were the instructions. See, with my instructions, I think the fact that there's an incredible time sense that's put in there, so that thing will develop into something, or things can disappear or discarded. But also, there's an incredible visual effect, and that was not something that I intentionally put in there. It's just that I think that when I think of sound and music, it just comes with the visual too. And I understand that there's some artists who have that sort of like a mechanism in the brain, that the place, the cell that is registering sound is at the same time the cell that registers visual. And so all my things, the songs and all that, sort of were visual, and all the visual things were, for me, it had that kind of silent sound. I don't talk down to my audience or people who want to experience my work. I don't feel like I have to sort of make it simpler for them. I just like the idea of bringing something out as it is, and it's a challenge in a way, you know, that they would start to understand it. So this also had a lot to do with music, because my father, who was a pianist, he said, music has evolved by a composer just creating a little line that is a little bit too difficult for someone to play. But then they conquer it, and then another composer writes it in a way so that it's a little bit more complex. And that's how music started to become what it is now. Everybody can be an artist. They all have that in them, creativity, you know. And also that it's becoming more and more an age of art, age of music and art, because that's the expression and the communication. It would become that to be the main expression and communication between us, rather than selling weapons and having war and dropping bombs to other countries, because that's another expression that they're enjoying probably, But we enjoy art.